Bitcoiners United back again. I'm here with Alma. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to go into a lot of background you have. You got quite the resume. Over 30 years in construction and the construction industry. You're an innovator, an inventor. You've got a lot of energy. You always got lots of ideas, several patents, or at least a couple. Parade of Homes award-winning general contractor, co-founder of Concrete Form Systems Incorporated, co-inventor of the Easy Footings Form Systems, founder of Climate Tech Building Systems. It redefines future of construction ideas, innovative ideas in construction. You've got a passion for designing sustainable building systems, dedicated to a positive impact on humanity. Last but not least, as if that's not enough, you've been evaluating Bitcoin for a long time. You're well into it, super excited about it, and you're talking about integrating Bitcoin into construction. So, wow, where do you want to start with your story?
Well, thanks for having me on, Fitz. So I started studying Bitcoin about 3 years ago, and I was on my way back from the International Builder Show or the World of Concrete. I can't remember which one, but they were right back to back in 2023. I had just, I was in the process of inventing and developing a software, a company that's going to revolutionize the building industry. And I was working on patenting it, and I thought it was a great idea. So I hawked my house and emptied all the bank accounts and went to Vegas and put it on black. And I've done that a lot in my past before, but I did that specifically to find out if what the technology that I was developing, if the rest of the world actually would see it, would buy it, would understand it. And it was phenomenal. I came back from the show, from both shows. I went to the International Builder Show and the World of Concrete 2 weeks apart, which is tough. And I came back from that show with a stack of business cards about that thick and emails, and everybody was just, wow, what did you build? I mean, I even had one gal, her and her team had come down from Idaho. They were general contractors and developers, and they were going to build a facility, a big, huge Spirit Bear Lodge is what it was actually called, in Blackfoot, Idaho, I think it was. Anyway, they'd come down because they got a bid from their general contractor to build their building. And he came in, I want to say that was around $1,400 a square foot. And they said, nope, pound sand, we're going to the builder show. And they came to the International Builder Show and met me. And she was so excited about what this new technology was. She waited and waited and waited. And we were slammed, and I didn't know she was waiting so long. I didn't know, but she talking to my brother, and my brother, she said, does your brother invent this stuff? And he said, yeah. And she said, I really need to talk to him. So she had about enough, and she reached in and just said to the gentleman, excuse me, and just ripped me away. And there I am going, wow. And she said, I need to know about this. So anyway, I spoke with her about it. And unfortunately for her, my system was prototype at the time and wasn't able to fit her time frame. Same thing when I got back from the show a couple months later. I got an email from a builder developing group out of Texas, and they were wanting to implement our technology in their multifamily project. They had a 22 building ICF project that they were building, and my floor solution was just intrigued them, and they were interested in that. And so again, unfortunately for them, it wasn't ready, but they needed the system by July, and we went to the show in January. And had I had all the products ready to go, that would have equated to around I estimated about $11.5 million order. So I knew I was on to something.
Yeah, I think it's probably a common experience where you've got some prototypes or you've got an idea and you're about ready, but you want to show it. And then people are like, are you ready next week? And you're like,
Yeah, I know. Story of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in the same boat right now with another portion of the company that I developed. So I invented a company. I started a company called Climate Tech Building Systems. And Climate Tech, what it does in a nutshell, is this technology removes lumber as the base layer of materials from the building process. And the technology is so advanced that it basically just eliminates all of the lumber, replaces the buildings with solid concrete structures. And those concrete structures are built by foundation contractors who use their current forming equipment, and they use it to embed anchoring hardware into the concrete, into the core of the wall. And once they, pour the concrete and strip the walls, then after that they pull the ties out and you reuse them as equipment. And then from there, the builder can come back in and attach the facade of the building to the core of the concrete structure now. And basically what it does is it creates the equivalent of an ICF, or an insulated concrete building system, and generates a building that creates thermal mass. Thermal mass is basically it's what happens when heat transfers through specific materials. And so I designed a system for the walls and a system for the floors. And basically, if you go onto my website, you can see the videos. I have videos where right now I'm demonstrating how a concrete contractor can use the millions of dollars worth of equipment that they have and give them the ability to build above grade concrete structures, preferably, like this. And so the technology is phenomenal. So yeah, we designed the wall system, and then we designed a floor system to go along with that as well. So right now, if you look on the screen, what I'm doing is I'm simulating showing a 6-inch concrete wall with 2 inches of rigid foam on the inside and 3 inches on the outside. And then I basically show how the concrete contractors just use their off-the-shelf, just stuff that they're using every day, and showing them how that we created a technology that not only it probably saves them money because they don't have to use the foundation wall ties and break them off, but it drastically increases their income potential because these buildings are all above grade concrete structures. Currently, all concrete contractors in the country and around the world, their income stops at the top of the foundation wall or wherever their forming equipment goes. And most architects and builders and engineers these days aren't necessarily designing above grade concrete structures using removable forming equipment, or RCFs is what we call them, RCF, all removable concrete forms. They design them using ICF blocks. It's called insulated concrete forms.
Gotcha.
And the difference between their systems and our systems are our systems can be assembled on site using local contractors and their equipment. Any other building system that is going to generate thermal mass building a concrete structure is going to have to send you insulated blocks that are manufactured in Canada or Colorado, and then they'll be shipped to New York or California or wherever your job's at.
Uh-huh.
And the challenge with that is, and actually there's a lot of challenges, but one of the key elements is reducing shipping costs. Now, Climate Tech Building Systems, this system that you're seeing between the floors and the walls is literally the physical equivalent of Bitcoin. What you're seeing is how this is the physical version of Bitcoin. You're looking at something as decentralized manufacturing, okay? So all of the concrete, where does concrete come from, right? Concrete is made up of 89% of it is sand, gravel, and water, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the other is air. And then after that, you have 11% of the concrete mixture is actually the concrete material. So
And you're
as
going to
a
source that pretty locally usually.
100%, yeah. Think about it. Concrete contractors are in every single city, in every town, in every portion of the country, and probably all over the world. I mean, the Romans invented concrete.
Right.
The Romans perfected concrete. They understood what its value was. Concrete itself, as a base layer of materials, is unbelievable. I mean, it's amazing. But then when you take it and you use it with steel or even like tensiled composites, you get structures that are literally almost indestructible. It takes some serious earthquakes to destroy some of these types of structures. So anyway, but that's what I've been working on, and it's pretty interesting. It's very interesting technology. So the challenge is not only to how do you build a system that is better, stronger, faster, and cheaper, but it can be built using local materials, local suppliers, like this floor system that you're showing here. This particular floor system, all of the insulation portion of it is literally nothing more than 2-pound density expanded polystyrene geofoam. It's just a foam block, like any foam block that you've ever seen where you're driving down the freeway and they're trying to ramp the freeway up. And instead of filling the ramp full of dirt, they put geofoam blocks in to fill the voids, and then they build the roads. This is just cheap geofoam, very, very inexpensive, locally sourced. But the power of this thing is not in just its insulation properties. The power of it is in its engineering design. I designed something that can be built on a 12-foot table. It's cut out of wire with electricity, and then they cut the shape of it, and then they flip it over, and then they'll come down, and the CAD program will cut out any horizontal apertures, openings that the contractors need. And as a contractor myself, I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of systems over my 30 plus years in the business. And as a builder, always the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to look at it and you're going to say, can my foundation contractor, can my framing contractor, who is it? Can my guy do it? Right? Everybody thinks that their guy is the only guy who can do it. I know, my guy's the only contractor who can do it. This system is designed so anyone can do it. It can be cut on any table. And that's another brilliant part of it. So this thing's decentralized manufacturing as well. These companies that manufacture this foam, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of them around the country, hundreds of them. Literally, any contractor who wants to build a project can have this system cut probably within 50 to 100 miles of their current job site location. That is crucial when you're talking about reducing costs and time. Okay. So anyway, that's how that works.
So you designed the system, and then theoretically with the system, they could have a subcontractor do the kind of work, or with your consultation, you may have a job in Texas or a job in Idaho. Now you might go there and help oversee or implement the construction, but you could have subcontractors that are local, quickly get up to speed, or with some consultation do all of this, and you're not having to like haul stuff across state lines and all this crazy stuff.
Yep.
Build it local.
Yep. 100%. Yep.
When I think of all the concrete, the insulation, all that design, I think of like what do they call it? Like thermal mass, the radiated floors, whether that's heating or cooling, the piping. A lot of construction you see, it's like they lay out footings, they pour concrete, that's it. And then maybe the flooring is just a simple another layer just on top of that. But with planning and a good design, you can lay in a lot of what you want to be the fabric of the building, which is the heating, the cooling, the power, or I don't know, perhaps using Bitcoin mining to heat the structure. I don't know what all, but
No, no, you're 100% right. You're actually on to. I'm glad you mentioned that. And one of the things that a builder can do is use Bitcoin mining to run their snow melt heat, radiant heat and all that type of stuff. I actually saw a video. I think it might be if someone goes on my feed, they might even see a post where I commented on it. I was like, some builder in Idaho was just running his shop off of a Bitcoin mining thing, and it was just run a heat exchanger. So with a lot of the things that I do, I'm a technology consultant. Basically, is what I do. I'm in the construction technology business, and it's my job to estimate the costs of multi-million-dollar projects, and they have to be very, very accurate. Well, some of those projects, a lot of those projects have a lot of snow melt, heat tube, and all that type of stuff. They're perfect for it, but that doesn't mean just those projects. Your average, just standard local home could easily be. If builders were smart, they go, wow, we'll just heat this with Bitcoin mining. So that's something that I'm going to try to help builders implement into their designs when they're building these. So that's going to be great. But the biggest Bitcoin part for me is, number one, this technology, when it's available for you, the general public, to purchase, once it's available for you to purchase, it's more than likely you won't be able to get it unless you have Bitcoin. So, and as a general contractor, if your competitor is selling a project using Climate Tech building systems, it's made out of solid concrete, right? It's made of steel and concrete. It performs better. It was built better, stronger, faster. And in our projections, we're projecting these costs to be about $10 less per square foot than conventional lumber. Case in point, if you go onto my website, I've got some analysis there. You got to pull down where I've pegged a multifamily project's 18-inch floor truss system up through its radiant heat. I pegged that against our system, and that system we figure is $10 a square foot less than the lumber. So actually, if you scroll up, you can show it here. Go up a little bit, up a little bit more, a little bit more.
Oops, hold on a second.
Yeah, if you scroll down, there's actually you can see that's the one, the PDF with the patent on it. So click on the patent with the PDF, and that'll show it. Yeah, go to the bottom, go on to the very bottom of it, and there's the next button. Click the next. There you go. That's highlighting the structure and basically what it is that we're doing. So you're looking at differences between multifamily structures and residential structures. So if you click the next page will show you the cross sections. Those are 3D cross sections of buildings, and you're basically looking at your average regular Ivory Homes home or a Pulte home. By the way, Bill, you should call me. Anyway, if Pulte Homes was using this, they would reduce. They could build any of their structures for $10 a square foot less. And the reason why it's $10 a square foot less is not material costs. It's actually labor costs, believe it or not. I've designed these systems so they're built modularly. They can be built in factories, in multifamily. They can be built in factories, or they can be built out on the site. They can be built in tilt versions. They can be built using foundation forming equipment. But either way, you end up with, that's a structure right there that you end up with. You have all of your radiant, all your heat systems and everything can go through them. And then after that, they just attach the facade. So basically what I've done is I've taken all of the hardware that's needed for the lumber industry, which is all manufactured, the most of it's manufactured and lobbied by Simpson Hardware. Well, we will be in the future of the building industry. We are Simpson Hardware. We are the new hardware of the world. We're also the new lumber company of the world, because you don't, well, between us and concrete, but between the concrete and the steel and Climate Tech Hardware and the foundation contractor and his forming equipment, we bypass all of the lumber rails. Right now, currently, the lumber says the lumber that the country needs is very volatile. Our system, our building infrastructure in our country is so volatile that, I don't know if you remember this, it was like a year or two back.
Got really expensive.
It got really cold. A plant froze in Texas, a resin plant froze in Texas. And between that and one ammonia plant that mysteriously blew up, I don't know why,
Right.
between that resin plant that froze, it shut down the ability for the country to make wood, to build wood, right? It's actually was wood. It used to be wood. I'm taking that from somebody else, but it's no longer. It does it there. In order for them to build the buildings of we're building today, most everything that the engine is today is engineered, and it's what you call EWP, or engineered wood products. Okay, so in order to make a EWP, what do you have to have? Resin. What happens if you shut one resin plant down? My lumber goes from $17 for a sheet of 7/16 OSB at my local Home Depot to $48 to $53. Okay?
Gotcha.
And that happened, and people were just screwed, just absolutely wrecked it. So basically what that tells you is that the nation's building infrastructure is on very weak foundation. Everything that we do is to try to prop up and hold up this base layer material that burns, it rots, right? It warps, it twists, it makes twisty walls.
Right.
Is it readily available? Absolutely. Have we, as builders and forest operators like Sierra Pacific, learned how to grow a 12-inch tree in 30 years, right? Take a 100-year growth tree and turn it into 30 or maybe even 15 or 20, right? It's not that we don't know how to do that. It's still, the problem is in the base layer of the material. You have to do everything you can to waterproof it, prevent it from bending, cracking. If it gets too hot, expands, contracts. You're doing everything you can to work with this material. All your drywall pops, they're on the crack. Everything's always cracking, right? Inside the house, cracking, bumping. The house is moving, right? It's a natural material. Us builders are nothing more than 20th century beavers, right? We're the beaver. The beaver, like Michael Saylor says, the beaver is nature's engineer, right? Yeah. That's why it's the mascot for MIT. It's nature's engineer. Well, builders are nothing more than modern day beavers. We're doing the same thing. We still have rocks. We're slapping mud against it. We're still gnawing on that wood. And we do it. And so I look at it from that standpoint. And I mean, I've always been an innovator. I've always been just a self-reliant. I started my first company when I was 23. I dropped out of high school and started construction, got into concrete. I poured footings and foundations, and then I started a framing company. And after that, I got into general contracting, and I sat on the board with my home builders associations. I used to put my homes in the parade of homes and things like that. I often tell people I forgot more about this business than most people know. And so when I see people doing the same thing over and over, it's just like, about it, So I've spent a lot of time and energy and effort trying to fix a humanitarian problem. This is for humanity. It's not how much money can I make by designing a system that I can make money at, right? We can all make money. Of course I want to make money, but it's what I'm doing to make the money and how I'm going to make that money. And then after that, it was like, okay, well, once I discovered Bitcoin, I was like, I said to myself, this is something that I think I need to learn about and study from an engineer's perspective, right? Not just you guys talk about number go up or casino. What shitcoin casino am I in today?
Yeah, like Michael Saylor did, the first principles of like the engineering of it. Like you had to validate for yourself, what is this really? Does this really work? How does this really work?
Yep. And so that's where I come to Bitcoin. The plan is to merge Bitcoin with the building industry. The building industry is a massive, massive industry, trillions of dollars between its residential, multifamily, and commercial. The systems that I've invented and patented bridge the gaps for all of them. So I often have people say, well, what is your system for multifamily or custom homes? All of them. Bitcoin is a protocol. Okay, Bitcoin is mathematics. It's engineering. It's energy. Okay, that's what Bitcoin is. Our systems are the same thing. They're math. They're a formula. It's you put this formula together and you will end up with a certain result. Same thing with Bitcoin. It's a formula. You can't undo the formula because someone already figured it out. Someone figured it out, put the math to it, and released it in like a virus. Which, by the way, I was listening to your thoughts on who you thought Satoshi was.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I got my theories. I mean, I have my theories, but I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. If I was Satoshi, I wouldn't want anybody to know who the heck I was.
Oh, well, I mean, you look at how governments have approached people pushing the envelope and are a threat to the system in general. We can get into that later if you want to, but I mean, if Satoshi hadn't implemented from the get-go incredible operational security, he'd be in serious trouble, in prison, or dead right now. So he knew going into it from the get-go. He knew.
She, or they.
Who shall be and remain a mystery.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, they learn a new trade, they learn a new skill. It's a lot of work. You get to a level where you can implement it and make some money and have a business. And then business itself is busy enough. It's a full-time job to like run a business, as you have probably experienced many times, and the hardship, the ups and downs. And it's easy enough just to kind of stop there and be like, well, I can just do this now. And you just do that and you're busy enough. And maybe you're good enough doing that. What you've done is continued to kind of seek and innovate and think and stay hungry, like the beaver, can't stop, won't stop. So not only in construction, but then even as you could be busy enough with the most modern materials, the foresight to think about, how can anyone anywhere build this locally and source locally and not be beholden to, say, Canadian lumber or forest fires, all the things that affect the prices of lumber and a material that is thousands and thousands of years old, when what modern construction has a demand for is sometimes that precision design, just so where you don't want to cut and recut or haul boards around. You can design and engineer what you want, pour it locally and lay it out where you want it, how you want it. So you just continue to push and push. And that takes a special kind of a personality and energy. That's what I have heard from you, like on the Bitcoin Army spaces and elsewhere, when you talk about this stuff. You've got a deep passion that like attracted me in terms of always thinking, can't stop thinking. Where does that come from, you think? What drives you?
You know what? I don't know. I've always been driven. I've always been driven, but these days, the fact that I've quit drinking alcohol and was able to be a better person and a better husband for my wife and my family and everybody around me, even every community. I'm much better person I am today than I was, but I've always been driven. I've always been trying to chase this, believe it or not, this wall system. You wouldn't believe I've been chasing that wall for 20 years. 20
Wow.
years I've been designing that wall system. It only took me 5 years to design the floor, but the wall system, that took me 20 years to do.
Wow.
At the time I was, you talked about this concrete form services and the easy footings form system. I invented easy footings to eliminate lumber. So that's basically what easy footings does, is it eliminates the need for lumber. And it was kind of cool when my cousin and I invented it. It was he had come to me and he had this board with some brackets. And he was like trying to show me everything, and I was like, I said, I don't have time for it. Finally, I listened to him, and after that, that's a skin panel, what you're seeing right there. Finally, after listening to him, I'm like, all right, Daryl, what is it that you've got? And he said, well, look, we're gonna take this board and we're gonna put this metal on it, and then we're gonna put the stake in it, and there's no up, no down, no left, no right. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, that's how it started. He came into my office one day and said he had an idea, and I started putting money into it, and then I founded the company and started it, and took my build a model and took it to the internet, to the world of concrete. And when I got there, people were like, I don't know what you're selling. They didn't know what I was selling, if I was selling brackets or if I was selling lumber, and I tried to tell them it's a concrete form. Well, they didn't get it. And so the next year we perfected it, designed a whole trailer system, and brought out some forming systems that look like concrete forms, so slick sided both sides. And they thought, man, this is okay. We think this is okay. And I actually sold that system to a customer. And then the next year we created the aluminum. And once we did the aluminum, that's when things really took off. So yeah, that company just went crazy after that.
I've seen construction sites where they use all this lumber to build the footings or the walls and stuff, and when they tear it down, it's trashed. Like it's with the aluminum, you can reuse it, make it fit just right.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. Well, the brilliant part about it is the skin panel. The skin panel, that's a vertical shoot. That's to go vertical up. But the skin panel is so brilliant. By the way, I invented that one. Daryl invented the corner, Cactus. We'll call him Cactus. Invented the corner. I invented the skin panel. The skin panel is brilliant because that is the key to not having to cut anything. It basically gives you the ability to get within 30 inches of your target, and you're good. And that's amazing. So
awesome.
But anyway, yeah, they're kicking butt, man. They're going crazy. So they'll be at the World of Concrete this year, and just like they always are. But they got but that's just for the footing. So that's the most advanced technology for concrete forming in the footing industry. I'm about ready to take it one step. Like I'm just literally going to take it all the way to the roof. Now our systems are not designed for below grade, under like foundations. The reason I could say, yeah, go ahead and put it in, but I'm not going to warranty those. And the reason why I'm not going to tell people to build them, and we don't want them to, is because what's the point, right? The foundation is underground. Ground's a natural insulator. You only need to deal with the inside on that anyway. And why would you fill the entire perimeter of your building full of all the holes, right? Why would you make holes that you're going to have to go and fill it with either epoxy or whatever, right? So to eliminate that problem completely, I've just decided, what's the point? Everyone's chasing that foundation thing, right? I'm just going to use the forming equipment that they currently have. Now the important part about the forming thing is you have to develop two types. You have to give one type for the contractors who use aluminum forms, and you have to give one type to the contractors who use metal forms. So there's two types of contractors in the country, aluminum and metal. And so we've designed hardware for both of those systems. So in other words, the tie that you saw on the 3D video, that one's a taller, about 1.5 inch tie. That's for an aluminum form system. The other ones are a thinner, and that's for a metal system. Okay?
When you say metal, you mean like iron or steel?
Steel foundation wall forms. The form, it's 2 foot wide, it's 9 foot tall, and it's, they're going to build this thing they gotta put the ties together to hold it together. So.
And it's heavy as hell. I mean, compared to aluminum, I mean, that's
super heavy, heavy. They're very heavy.
When people think about like, oh, the most innovative leading edge technology of building constructions, and I've seen videos, but there's like the 3D printed thing where, you plug in a design, and the thing about that, I mean, it sounds cool and all that, but you got to have that special machine there on site, hauled from wherever. Those are got to be kind of few and far between and costly per hour. You also got, if you know how construction projects go, not that I do, but we think about all the little hiccups that can randomly just happen, where once that machine's going, I just imagine you got to have a good flow. You got to keep it pumping. It's got to be running like a steady deal, as opposed to like with your system. I'm just imagining you can like start and stop, set things up, whatever, pour an area. It can be more like a normal construction project that a lot of workers are going to be familiar with. And you don't have to have like, well, yeah, I've got a guy that can run the machine and he's $200, $300 an hour, or I don't even know. But anyway, what you're making is more accessible. And again, key point being sourced on site, local workers, local products, and the design is accessible to people. The system is accessible to people with some consultation. So
100%. Yeah. And when you mentioned earlier about, will I need to go out and do consultations with them and show them how to do it? I won't need to. I really won't, because the reason why I won't is this system is designed so it uses foundation contractors and their local equipment and their current guys who already know how to tie rebar, and they already know how to pour concrete. Okay. Gotcha. And another thing that's crucial when you look at what I look at all the 3D printers and all the home printing machines and all that type of stuff. And it's great. I think it's awesome. I think technology, go for it. As a builder and a contractor, what I have to say to myself is, hey, you're about ready to do this. You're going to build a 15,000 square foot custom home on the top of the mountain at 8,900 feet in the middle of the winter. You need to make sure that Juan and Miguel can operate that sucker while you're gone. And they have to get it done. It can't break. And then when you come back tomorrow, you need to have something done. I challenge any 3D printer right now to pull off that. I'm throwing it out to you right now.
Yeah.
Into my job site, dead of winter, 8,900 feet, let's go, right? So that being said, it's like, again, I'm not putting them down or anything. I'm sure they're going to operate well in the hot climates. But it's the concept. I actually saw one that Lennar Homes had, and I'm sure that's all just one of those great big green new scam things or whatever. But they had this massive printer, and it was printing homes, and they're going to build this one on this. And I was like, okay. I mean, okay. It is. So that's another one of those things. Whenever you bring something to the market, it's going to have to pass the sniff test for everyone. That's why it was really important that we went to the World of Concrete first, and then we went to the International Builder Show. We had to educate the concrete contractors about the new technology using their equipment and their own people and what they currently do. And once they saw it, they were like, yeah, this is awesome. And then you go to the builders, and the builders are basically, all the builders are going to do is turn around and go, Scott, can you build this? Okay, Scott says he can build it. Let's do it. If he goes, Scott, can you build it? No, yeah. Alma, pound sand. That's how it works. I mean, That's how it works. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. They don't care about the company. They don't care about your technology. Can it work? Can my guys do it? Can my guys use it? And then the
Right.
whole thing is like, okay, perfect. So you have to design something that is the lowest skilled laborer, and I'm not putting low skilled labor down. We need them
Sure.
drastically. But in order to move the needle, the major needle, and get people to stop buying lumber and to go into a new system, that you have to make it so that it seamlessly integrates with their current systems. You can't go in and just start yelling and screaming, hey, I got something that's gonna be wonderful. And the next thing you know, you're talking to an ICF sales rep and your foundation contractor's never done one. He doesn't know how to do it. There's all this specialty hardware and equipment. You got to have specialty shoring equipment to keep the dang thing straight. Otherwise, you're going to have this, long wall that's ugly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I look at it from this standpoint. Elon Musk built the robots that run on the roads. He didn't build the roads. The roads are the rail systems that his equipment rides on. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The concrete contractor's forming equipment and the tie that holds it together is the rail system that our hardware runs on. And it's so powerful that basically the integration for the concrete contractor is so simple. You basically have this conversation. You sit down with Juan, who's the head of the crew, and you say, listen, Juan, here's what we need you to do. I'm going to hand you this piece of plastic. And before you put that tie on the wall, just take this plastic and put your tie through it and stick it in the wall. Okay? That's as far as our training is going to go. That's it. That's all they need to know.
Right.
They don't need to know how it works. It doesn't matter. All they need to know is this plastic goes here before it goes there, right? So if you design systems that are so advanced that they eliminate the problem before it got there, that's when you're a genius, right?
Yeah.
Einstein says the difference between a genius and brilliance and geniuses, the difference is it takes brilliant minds to solve complex problems. It takes a genius to make sure those problems never happen.
Interesting. That's a great way to think about it. And I might say you're borderline genius on talking about this stuff. And now one thing that's going to sell it is when they hear $10 less a square foot.
Yes.
That alone, sometimes they're like, I don't care what it is. What does it cost?
Yep. That is it. Unfortunately, it's like that. If it costs the same amount, they still won't buy it. And that's sad.
Change can be hard. Yeah.
Exactly. You designed a building that you cannot burn. It's an unburnable building. If it costs the same or even a few cents less, they're not going to buy it. It has to be major. We're talking major. And so the $10 a square foot is major. But like I said, it's not in the materials. It's in the design, removing the labor aspect from it. So
yeah, change is one of the hardest things for people. I mean, you can have the best idea in the world, and if people have to like change a thought process too much about it, they're like, oh, that it just feels too much. So, but you make it easier for them. Now, with all these thoughts and all these directions and the push you've done in that world, what was it that brought you to Bitcoin? How did you hear about it? When did you start thinking, I'm going to take a look? I mean, when you're running a business, you're thinking money. When you've ever had a hard time with money or with business, you step back and go, okay, what's a better way to do all of this? But what was it for you?
Yeah, unfortunately for me, because I was drinking at the time, I'd heard about Bitcoin in around 17-ish, and just didn't pay much attention to it. My son even told me at one time, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna buy some of these things called ASICs and mine Bitcoin." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever." I didn't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
So your son was actually into it a little bit.
Well, he was going through, he was going to college and he was just talking about it. He literally never bought any Bitcoin or mined anything. He actually didn't buy any Bitcoin until last week or two. Like I finally orange pilled my son, and my ex-wife got orange pilled as well. But
You had a funny story about that where you kind of got him orange pilled a little bit, and then he came back with, "Oh yeah, and also, right?"
yeah.
But
His mom, he orange pilled his mom,
yeah,
and he had a little bit of money and some shit coins, and he got rid of that. So
right.
so 3 years ago, I had started. I'd heard Michael Saylor, and on with Robert Breedlove and the Saylor series, and
Yeah.
so I went. I'm a Saylor series Bitcoiner, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and
So
Saylor gets into the engineering thermodynamic aspect of it. That's what got me hooked early on too. I think I heard that in 2019, but yeah, go ahead. That was kind of my hook as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I listened to Robert Breedlove and Michael Saylor, the whole series, and that just, I was hooked, just 100% hooked, just listening to Michael Saylor speak, and because he's a brilliant engineer, just like Elon Musk is a brilliant engineer, and they're human. We're all humans. We all got our own flaws or whatever, and like them or love them. If you do or don't, that's your prerogative. But for me particularly, I hold both of those men in the highest regard. They're truly they're my heroes when it comes to looking at technology and understanding how things work and whatever. So yeah, it's really impressive to be able to watch at least what Michael Saylor, I think back when I was listening to him 3 years ago, and he was getting ready to be broke. I was already broke, and he figured out a way to not be broke, and I'm still broke. So he's clearly way smarter than me. But anyway.
What? People who don't, and I'm not saying I'm a big businessman, but people who really don't understand business kind of feel like, well, if you have a business, you're making money, or if you're making money, you're doing well. The weird thing about business is that you can be like busy and like cranking stuff out, highly productive, doing well, but it's money in, money out. You're reinvesting, you're trying to build up a flywheel, you got overhead, you got inventory, you got labor, all the things associated with it. It's like you could look at your gross profits and go, man, that's amazing, and I'm barely getting paid. So anyway,
it reminds me of a story of a conversation I had with one of my bankers at the time that I was a builder back in the day. I don't think I was trying to get a loan for some development or property or something, and I said, "Do you know how much money runs through your bank?" And he said, "Keyword, Alma, through." I'm like,
in and out.
I get it. So anyway, but yeah, no, I'm actually quite blessed that I have the tenacity to. Actually, I'm blessed that I'm dumb enough to not quit. That's basically what it is. I'm like, look, kick me, beat me. I don't give a shit. I mean, I don't care. I will figure it out eventually. And,
tenacity is a good word for it. And it's also a distinguishing trait between being an inventor versus an innovator, where or being too smart, where you can have ideas, you can have great ideas. Maybe you can get a patent. I mean, the very fact that you have patents, I mean, that itself is work and cost. And you can do all that, but then the implementation or the how do you practically roll that out? That innovation part of it is like another hurdle beyond the idea. It's the doing, and that can be the hardest part. So
yeah, I'm telling you, it's not easy. There's no doubt about it. It's not easy. Yeah, I just, I don't know. I've never had a safety net. There's not such thing as a safety net. I've never had one, never going to get one. I'm actually just never, it's just one of those things. When you're born and raised in the type of environment that I was, I don't know if people know my story or not, but I was born and raised in a polygamous family. I have 36 brothers and sisters, or four. I've heard
Wow.
that. I don't know. I've never met them all. But when you come from a place that you were taught things that are a lot different than other people, you look at the world different. I mean, I was taught that children should be seen and not heard, which could be a good thing these days. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
There's a
But
balance.
I thought you guys were all just, Gentiles and heathens, and I had no idea what was going to happen because we were taught fear. Our whole life was fear.
Like
Everything.
the outside world.
Yep, 100% fear based. Conspiracy theories, tinfoil hats. Turns out most of those tinfoil hat conspiracy theories were right, but
Yeah.
but we were still. But that's how we grew up. But no, I didn't. I come from nothing. I have nothing. I came from absolutely nothing whatsoever. I dropped out of high school, started my first company when I was, 23 years old, or no, 20. I started when I was 20. By the time I was 23, I made $1 million, and I was rocking. I was a big shop framing contractor and local general contractor, and everybody knew who I was, and I just thought that everything was going to go forever. It was always I was a numbers go up guy, but it takes building something from scratch and losing everything multiple times before you finally realize what's going on. And even up until 3 years ago, I was building climate tech building systems, and I was still drinking. I never planned on quitting drinking. I'm like, I'm not a quitter. I don't quit things. No,
Yeah, right.
I didn't think I had a problem. I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I thought that I was just a fun guy. Alma's a fun guy. Yeah, he might drink a little bit, but he's a fun guy. That wasn't the case. I wasn't a fun guy. I was an alcoholic, and I have to apologize to everybody, to every one of my customers, my ex-wife, my current wife, all my business partners, everybody publicly apologize for what I put you through when I had my problem. But I didn't think I had a problem. But today I know that I had a problem, and I ended up quitting cold turkey, which is really tough to do. Listen to this. I quit cold turkey while I was in Cancun, Mexico, on an all-you-can-drink program. I quit dead center and went to O'Doul's the very next day, because I woke up in the morning and my wife. What happened is anyone who's ever been an alcoholic or addicted to a substance, you've always that guy that when you look at your wife or your significant other, you're like, yeah, was I that guy again? And they're like, oh yeah, and you just do that, and you do it for years and years, and then you say, yeah, let's do 30 days. Let's not drink this week or this month, and you fool yourself and you lie to yourself, and the next thing you know, you're drinking again. Well, I never said I was going to stop, and I told her, next time I'm that guy, I'm going to quit. And she woke up, showed me a video. You're the guy, and I said, okay, I quit. And I stopped drinking alcohol, and I haven't had a drop since. So, and now keep in mind, I didn't say I was 100% sober. I drank alcohol for a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons were to deal with emotional pain and physical pain. I'm a walking $6 million bionic man. I've been under the knife a
You
lot.
worked hard, yeah.
I've been under the knife a lot more than you should be. So I ended up quitting and said, I'm done. So for the pain, the alcohol was for the physical pain and emotional pain. But
let me just say, and I want you to share as much as you want to, and you don't have to what you don't. But number one, I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of you for doing that, because it takes such a huge commitment, and it's like people think, well, just stop. Make the decision, make the lifelong decision, and for some people, I've I work with people who have challenges with addiction and mental health and other things in my daytime job. And it's easy from the outside to say, just stop. It's another thing to realize that it's a lifelong commitment. Like that is like a daily or in the moment or a knowing of yourself, what your triggers are, whatever it is about it. And that I can't remember the quote, but it's like, it's not just a little bit. It's not just the one drink. It's like,
Oh yeah.
one drink is too much and 1,000 drinks are not enough.
Yep.
Is kind of how it feels. And then if you're working that program and you realize and now it sounds like you've done a lot just on your own through sheer force of will and you're tenacious. For a lot of people too, they can't just lean on themselves. They've got to have something else, something higher, they have to let go and admit, like, I cannot do this myself. There has to be something else. And then you get to like step 9 and you see a growing, insane list of maybe all the, all the people you might say sorry to. I've never been, say, alcoholic, but I work in an industry where there's a bit of coping.
Yeah.
And it's not the surface drinking or the coping. It's often underlying trauma or the stress or history or a lot of things. It's like getting to that root cause of the stuff that can be the hardest thing to dig in and discover who you are or where it came from and go, oh my God, I'm a wreck. So anyway, good for you, man. I'm just very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's quitting alcohol was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was harder than quitting cocaine or cigarettes or pornography or anything. I must have an addictive personality because I'll work 20 hours a day, 24 hours a day, just intense. Like I've literally, since I started my company, I've been working an average of 16 to 20 hours every day for the last 3 years. It's been tough, but but guess what? Wow, no one's coming to save you, bud. Right? You're the one that signed up for it. So that's another thing about once you have to, it's the hardest thing for anyone to do is to look themselves in the mirror and say, you got a problem and you need help and you need help and you need to fix it. And I don't know what that means for everyone, but everyone has their own, like you said, there's underlying issues for all of us for everything, for the way we behave, for the way we act, our personalities, the people we hang out with. Everything that we do comes from the environment that we were in or are in, and we are a product of our environment. People say that you become like the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Right.
So, look around, see that, and you're like, wait a minute, I might need to change what I'm doing, or you might go, hey, I'm in great shape. But yeah, self-reflection is the hardest thing. It's so hard.
When I've got a job that can be stressful during the day, and so like my relationship with alcohol, it's been for like, well, it can be a useful tool. It kind of helps me relax or helps me cope. And then after a while, when you notice you have a bad night or a bad morning, or you've got a little bit of is it a problem, or no, I can quit. And then you like don't, and it becomes more, instead of a tool, it's like a crutch.
Yes.
And so then the thought went through my mind. It's like, well, I'm not alcoholic. Like if I'm not alcoholic, I'll quit. And then I would notice myself finding it hard. Like I make a commitment to myself. Okay, yeah, 30 days. And I can do it. I can just on my own, I can do that. But then you find yourself, you see it on TV and in movies and culturally, and you're out with friends, or you're kind of bored and restless at home, and you start thinking about it, and you're like, wow, like it's a little harder than I expected.
It's a social thing. It's a social thing. I found, like, by the way, this is non-alcoholic beer. They make some real good ones these days, boys, by the way.
Nice.
Anyway, I found it's a social thing. You find that you're drinking socially, and everyone, when I first quit drinking, they were like, "How's Lisa doing?" I'm like, "We're coming over. Do we not drink? Do we not pull out the wine?" I mean, like I'm some rabid, I gotta have alcohol. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely tough. But yeah, so back in I'm being able to take this thing that I've been working on and turn it into Bitcoin, and take my challenges, my industry, my problems, and create a product, something that I can give to the community that actually benefits it, and incorporate Bitcoin. And so that's where climate tech building systems isn't just hardware and insulation and buildings and stuff. It's also software. It's the software programs that run the 3D models is the key to it. So basically our models, the models, if you pull up, I've got another website, Mirror Engineer, and Mirror Engineer is part of climate tech building systems. And what it does is it takes the Revit models and it gives the footing foundation contractor, the general, the architect, whoever's trying to estimate whatever portion of the project, it gives them the ability to just draw the building, and when they're done drawing, it creates the estimated quantity. So if you scroll down a little bit, you go click on the first one, click that download and open that. Yeah, that's a PDF document. That is a PDF, and basically what that is that shows all of the forming equipment for the footings and all of the forming equipment for the walls, and it tells the contractor how many cubic yards of concrete it has, how much is in this footing, whatever. And so it basically estimated how much that stuff was for the contractor.
Right.
So basically, talk about, reducing manual data entry. That's insane. So, and the next one, same thing. That's just my cousin Ernie he's the regional. He's a sales manager for Concrete Form Services. He called me a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, I got a company that has a bunch of cabins they're building up on the mountains, and they want to know how much equipment is needed. Can you figure that out?" So Mirror Engineer does that. So all you do is import their drawing underneath it, just a PDF, and then you just give it its grids. Just hurry and give it some grids, and then drag and drop the components that we already have pre-made. Our families, our Revit families. That's what took most of the time. All of the time is building these Revit families. So anyway,
yeah,
that's awesome. It's a brand new website. I can't even accept payments yet because we're not quite there, but we're super, super close. So
that software alone can be a whole business that can be quite lucrative when people, you think about every single construction project out there. You can have designs and you can have the materials and the know-how, but then it's like a big part of the job is the timeline and what is this going to cost? How much of what stuff, in total, and not just well, we did the calculator and here's the totals. It's like where and how and why. Yes. And so that paints a picture basically.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, it streamlines the process so fast for a foundation contractor. The foundation contractor is literally just going to import it, and within hours he'll go from nothing to a full 3D model that calculated the cost for him. It's insane.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
super helpful.
That's going to be good for the foundation contractors, but for the architects will have their model will have everything in the building. You'll have plumbing, tile, heating, electrical, framing material if they're still framing, right? Windows, doors. It'll be the full package for the general contractor. So as a general contractor, if I need to do a bid for a GC on a project that's 15,000 square foot home, in order for me to do a detailed quantity estimate of that, it takes me about 2 weeks to send the PDF out, to the trade contractors, get them to do their bid, upload it, download their bids, go through every item of their bid, double check, cross check, move this here. It's a tremendous challenge to do that. Well, with Mirror Engineer, we're going to take my problem and fix it for the world. So basically, if you're operating Mirror Engineer properly, your architect or whoever, your BIM manager, will just have the file, in the cloud, and he'll send you the link to the file, and you the estimator of your whatever you're estimating, framing, labor, material, whatever, you'll link into the file and you'll do your work on the file. And so you're basically helping the model generate its final production because your input came in. And so what that does is it reduces all of the challenges with sending it out, bringing it back. Just look at all the manual data and possibilities for errors along the way. So this system is going to be designed to hold it in and give the engineers and the architects who are already doing all the work anyway, it'll just put the power of estimating in their hands. Right now, they don't draw for me. They draw for them. They draw so they can get the whatever image they need to with as little amount of work possible so that they can finally get a job and give it to us and their client. And that's most architects. Some of them are just absolutely insane, and they have in 3D models and good stuff. Those are really good ones. But the average architect does not draw their buildings with estimating in mind.
Gotcha.
They don't care, right? With these templates, the architect downloads the template, draws, and when he's done drawing, it's estimated already.
I've seen so many situations where there's these beautiful conceptual or architectural drawings or whatever, and it's like, and people are like, yes, I like that, and that hooks them. Well, how much does that cost? Well, and it's a little more than you might have hoped. And so then inevitably they get scaled back. Or another situation, so there's changes. And then the other situation where you're kind of down the road a little bit, and then randomly it's like, the client wants this one wall to be 2 feet further in.
100%.
And it's like, oh.
Yes.
So adjustments along the way, is it too late? Or can you just, okay, well, let's move that wall. What does that cost? What does that mean? Okay, here you go.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of ways to do it. In the field, we handle it in multiple ways. Depends on the full extent of the change. Case in point, change. I want half of that building moved and go on and draw something else different than let's move this wall because I want the shower bigger, right?
Right.
So it's the moving of the showers and all that type of stuff. When someone sits down, the interior designers, one of the biggest challenges that builders face is we have to interpret what the interior designer, is conceptualizing. We have to take what they're doing and put it to paper and pencil and get the materials, source the materials, the trade contractor, whatever it is. I mean, they're just using their creative mind to do it. But unfortunately, their creative mind causes challenges for us to get it, because they'll send us their document. Hey, here's the designer specs. Go off the designer specs. Okay, fine. Designer specs. Let's say you get them, their scale's wrong. Well, how did you know the scale was wrong? Well, I checked it. Well, who else knows the scale's wrong, right? Yeah, how many things are screwed up because they took their pretty picture? Yes, it looks beautiful. Let's put it here. They don't know. They're not architects. They don't know. So in order to help them from themselves, if whoever's operating Mirror Engineer is using it like they should, having that, then they'll be able to achieve true BIM. And all BIM stands for is building information modeling. The building information modeling, if you have something that's in 3D, 3D helps you be able to understand and look for clash detections, right? So if a set of stairs is not hitting right, you can see it in 3D. So this software is going to be really, really fun for a lot of people. And it's going to save a ton of time and money. And what its job is, its goal, the number one goal is to eliminate the estimating department. I'm the estimator. I'm trying to kill my job. So once we do that, and you get it to a builder and an architect, and it's $10 a square foot less, and they want it, they're hooked. They can't get it without Bitcoin. We pull the entire building industry into Bitcoin, and they don't even know. It's just something you do because, well, I want that. Well, you have to use Bitcoin to get
buy
it.
in Bitcoin, huh?
For sure. So we're gonna be promoting a tremendous amount of Bitcoin volume, and then I plan on extending it even farther with the supply chain. I want my supply chain from end to end. I want a Bitcoin supply chain. So if I can get a Bitcoin supply chain, then what that will do is that will secure all of the projects moving forward, knowing that every ounce of the materials that are coming into those projects are not subject to fiat bullshit. Okay?
Right.
So you're literally, I'm cutting the fiat out of it before it got to be in it. And it starts with the technology of eliminating the base layer of the lumber. The lumber's where the fiat system has a massive chokehold on this thing. They own it. They own it. Yeah. So
I'd never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. My two patents. Oh, by the way, we filed for protections in Canada, by the way. By the way, Canada, it doesn't matter what kind of lumber you have, you're not going to need it anymore. Right? We don't need it. Like Trump said, we don't need it, and you aren't going to need it either. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a whole nother aspect of the innovation, the push into a space where you're going to have customers that don't know where to start. It's going to be like, education, the payment rails, how do they onboard? But you think about what we're used to a lot of times, and when people think in a fiat world, it's like, oh, well, part of the cost of doing business is like, the fees or the delays or the banks or approvals and certain things. And it's like, okay, it may take some work up front to get them up to a level, but once it's there, it's like, oh yeah, boom, 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 boom. The rails are built into the protocol, and then you're off you go.
Yeah. If this system was available already today, Grant Cardone could bypass the Coastal Commission with the bullshit that they're holding them up on, and they would have to approve these buildings.
Tell me about that.
They'd have to approve these buildings unless it's outside of the multi-millions of dollars that they want you to raise where they have to raise the base elevation. That was one of the challenges that he had as well. So that if that thing still sticks, then you're effed no matter what. But if it's the fire, because they were saying, look, we're not gonna, you gotta get these things here, whatever. But yeah, concrete structures, these things will be able to replace a lot of homes and buildings very, very quickly. And the best part about it is you don't need to retrain a labor force. It's already there. Your labor force is already there. They've already been doing the same thing every day for their whole life. The only thing you're gonna do is hand them some hardware, tell them to stick it in their wall before they do it, and they're good to go. Now in the floor systems, that's another thing. Instead of doing the things that they're doing, they'll just learn how to use cranes a lot better. Hey guys, it's called physics.
Right.
Physics can save you a lot of money.
Now you've been to a lot of trade shows. You're going to a bunch here. Is this? I see some of these coming up. Do you plan on going to these?
That's not my company. So what you're looking at there, that's Concrete Form Services. That's my cousin Ernie and his company, the Easy Footings.
Uh-huh.
That's my old company.
Okay.
That was my company.
So when you go to these trade shows, do you imagine you start talking about it, people are interested, whatnot. Now, when you get to the next level step, or you've got a ready customer, say, and you start talking, you bridge the gap into Bitcoin. Have you had that experience before, or what do you imagine how that might go? What do these contractor types have an understanding that a lot of them might not?
You know
Yeah.
what? Honestly, I don't know. When
Mhm.
I was at the shows, I wasn't here yet on the Bitcoin side of it. I was more on the building side of it. I was still trying to build the technology. Like I was still in the process of getting it to patent and all this type of stuff. And you know, I had my prototypes, but they weren't 100% what I would actually just cut steel with and make injection molds, right? So
Mm.
I spent the next 2 years getting through and actually acquiring the patents, you know, finalizing all of the specific engineering pieces and making sure everything, you know, just the mechanics, you know, just doing some really good engineering work. So we got through all the engineering work. That's all dialed in. Now we just have to build it. It's basically I'm at a field of dreams right now where I put all the money in, designed it, and now it's there and it's ready to go. And it's like, all right, let's build this thing. So I've actually talked to uh, several folks who have the financial wherewithal to cut the $10 million check that it takes to get the molds and the testing, but they don't understand it yet. They don't. And one guy, I actually lost an investor because of Bitcoin.
Hmm.
Because of Bitcoin, I lost an investor. But I don't care.
It was too foreign to them, or they were just like,
An investor for me. So, but
you
yeah,
are based.
what's that?
You are based about it. You're holding to your values, and
Yeah. It was just it's going to happen. So that's
but
where we're
it's
at right now.
and it's a time preference thing, because you can chase the fiat dream and just kind of want to win and win and win quick. And what you're doing is looking at the long term view and where it's going to pay out long term and where that'll be, versus like make deal after deal now. You're investing in the future. So
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely a long term play. It's This technology is actually the most advanced technology the building industry has ever seen, and this is the most advanced patents that the United States Patent Office has had for the building industry to truly change the building industry in over 100 years. There's nothing's really moved the needle in over 100 years. This is going to change everything. Climate tech building systems will change everything. Not the footing, not that footing right there. That's a footing form, but the ones on climatebuilt.com is where you'll find it. But yeah, between the walls and the floor systems, it's going to change everything. Now,
yeah,
hey, I'm going to show you something else too. Go scroll to the top. I'll go on my website, something called U Stucco. Go click that U Stucco. This is really cool.
you stucco.
Go click more. Sorry, go to more. Sorry. Go to U Stucco there. All right, so U Stucco, if you click on that, what that is that is a stucco product that's available on the market. It's 6 times lighter than stucco, and 3/4 of an inch of that stuff will produce a 2-hour fire rating. So you can put a jet flame on that for 2 hours and it won't burn the EPS on the other side. So that is what our foam will be coated with when it's done. So you'll have some basically taco shell looking things that have that. So the foam is going to be encased in concrete and stucco, and then the ends of each block will have a thin stamped steel metal plate in them, and that basically creates a fire stop system every 48 square feet. So no matter what happens, if a building was to try to burn, it would have a fire would have to start in one cell and then get into the mechanical system, go through the mechanical system, exit the mechanical system, and then burn out the next block. These buildings are unburnable. So
Wow.
the insulation, the insulation costs are going to be lower. The insurance costs are going to be lower. Just think about a building. When a building's being built, how much insurance is on that thing? Every single trade contractor has liability insurance and all kinds of insurances, right? Every one of them. So take 60 trades with 2 insurances. That's 120 insurance policies on a building that's being built that can possibly burn, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if you've gotten into roofing much. You mentioned roofing, but
they'll build the roofs out of concrete. Roofs, pitched roofs, it doesn't matter. It's all designed so that they use very innovative practices of building it more like a car would be assembled, more like an assembly, like the building is manufactured instead of built. Does that make sense?
I think so. Like people want their nice house out in the woods, or they're not thinking about defensible space necessarily. They're like, oh, it's such nice trees right next to the house. So one, you get more of a concrete insulated house with the stucco with either in a lot of people, it's like, well, get a metal roof or stone tile. That can be very expensive. Now metal's less expensive comparatively, but like a stone tile roof or something that looks nice. I don't even know, but that could be real expensive. But you're thinking of when you think of a manufactured, planned out house, that the roof itself could also be a smart system, like what you're thinking about.
It's for everything. It doesn't matter what the architect drew. If the architect has a 212 pitch or a 1212 pitch, it doesn't matter. Whatever the architect wants to draw, he can draw it using this system. The only difference is these buildings are a little thicker. They're just thicker, right? The roofs are fatter, thicker. The walls are thicker. Things are just thicker. So, it's not like you can walk into downtown, wherever, Los Angeles or Detroit or Michigan or Texas, where something's already been designed to fit within 2 buildings, and then say, yeah, I'm going to create a new structure, and you can still have the same space. You can't have the same space with this. It's a little bit different. Not a lot, but it's a little bit different. Now, the cool part is when it comes to commercial projects, you can do that for the most part, where let's say you walk up to a project and a guy's building a big, Home Depot tilt buildings project, right? And they haven't built these 3 buildings, but they've got these 2 built, but these other 3 aren't yet. They're just getting ready to do it. Well, they haven't built the roof systems yet. With our system, they can literally just swap the documents out, the structural documents out from their metal truss system and insert our documents and rebuild it. Obviously, as long as the engineering lines up, but it will, because our engineering lines up. So basically what they're doing is they'll be like, look, I don't need to get all of this trusses that came from all these manufacturing places in Canada or whatever. I can use my local contractor and his concrete equipment, and I can just get that foam cut from a wire on demand. That's very powerful, very powerful.
Yeah. So much about it. And because it's not just having a good idea, it's the implementation that's the key.
Yeah.
Not throwing together sticks to build stuff, but like the manufacturing process, that's the innovation.
Yeah.
Now we're at not quite an hour and a half, so I don't know if you're pressed for time or not, but I was curious about a little of your backstory if you want to share it.
Go ahead. I got time.
You got time?
Yeah, absolutely.
You describe your growing up sounded, it's unique and different. Did you find it hard when you left that environment and you got like a really strong family or, your tribe, your people? Was it hard to leave? And when you left, what was that like for you? Did it force you to basically say, I'm on my own, I'm going to do me, and it kind of drives you? Or describe that to me. I'm curious about that.
Well, so I've actually always been a little bit of a rebel. So when I was growing up, obviously I was taught what I was taught, and religion was forced down my throat, and I had to do all of that stuff. But once we started going to public school, and I started looking around, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, maybe there's something wrong with where I'm coming from. But no, I was very shy when I was in junior high and stuff like that. It wasn't until, I got far into high school and then I dropped out that I wasn't shy anymore. But yeah, you just, once you figure out that there's another, that everything that you were taught was definitely questionable, and you could question your own plan in life. And yeah, I left pretty. I was it just it wasn't that great growing up. So I mean, it was great. It was good that my father was a finished carpenter and taught me a lot of. I have a lot of physical trade skills.
You probably had chores.
Yeah, I'm over trade skilled. I have a
Oh,
lot. I know too much, and so that's why when I see things, and even this, and that's probably one of the reasons why I've spent so much time with it, because I know that the industry and the people and humanity needs help in the building and the housing sector specifically. I just got two brand new grandkids, and
congrats.
they're thank you, and they don't stand a chance. If it wasn't for their dad, and the amount of money that he's worked on his, and he's building and stuff like that, and he's going to provide for them. If they were going to be in a situation like the majority of a lot of people out there, don't come from anything and don't have anything, and just want a nice, just a little home. I just want a house, just a small one. I don't need the 15,000 square foot mansion. I just need a small house for me and my kids. Well, they can't afford one, and the reason why they can't afford one is, we all know, is the money's broken, right?
Yeah.
Lawrence Lepard, fix the money, fix the world. I'm the fix the materials, fix the world. Okay.
Nice.
So they can't afford one because the cost of getting that home is so high. And clearly we can point to printing as the culprit, right? We know what the base layer problem is. It's everything after the base layer that comes from it, from the printing of the money. They can't afford the lumber. The lumber's getting more expensive. Even the concrete's super expensive. By the way, I'm super excited about this concrete play. By the way, you go and introduce billions and billions and billions of cubic yards of concrete to the mix, it's going to force the concrete cost up so high that no one can afford it. Or, wait a minute, maybe it just won't. Maybe everyone will run to the concrete like it's the gold mine, and next thing you know, you'll have more concrete trucks, you'll have more AI innovating new concrete mixes that are cheaper, better, stronger. Maybe the costs are going to go way down, right?
The industry might work to catch up to the demand.
You can put one pair of glasses on or the other.
Right. Yeah.
Right? In the pair of glasses that I choose to put on are the world that I plan on creating, and that is one where everyone can afford a house, not just because Elon invents Optimus and Optimus builds it for you. That's not what I'm talking about. that's a whole different portion of it, but which, by the way, I'm very, very much looking forward to buying Optimuses and giving people other things to do. It's great.
Sure.
I can't wait to test them, and we'll try them out. And we're going to take the same test with those guys as that we do with the 3D printer. We're going to stick them up at 8,900 feet, minus 30, snowing.
Yeah, and it'd be crazy. It's like, okay, maybe Optimus is a little slower, but he doesn't take lunch and he can go all night and he'll.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see him. I seriously, I can't wait. I mean, I'm telling. I've been telling Elon. I've been keeping on X. I keep poking Elon. I'm like, Elon, Starbase Texas, Starbase Texas. That's why on your last thing said, Elon, Starbase Texas. So Starbase Texas should be building out of this system. They should build out of this system.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then that's fine. Who knows? Elon's so smart. He might have something better than this. If he does, I'd like to see it. It would have to entail building something that eliminates all of the foundation contractors, their people, and the equipment that they use in order to build that system, because that system is already established and it's nationwide. That's why it's going to be so easy for a general contractor or a foundation contractor to implement this into what they do, because it's easy. It's easy. It's going to be as easy as saving money in Bitcoin versus saving money in your dollar. When you get your money, you either save it here or you save it there. Your choice. Not that difficult, but you have to make the choice, right?
Yeah. Now, I think, was it Starbase or Spaceport, like recently incorporated?
Yeah, Starbase Texas is the actual name. It's the city of Starbase, Texas. I saw that when he filed for incorporation.
They're going to be
Texas.
That whole Brownsville area is going to be growing. I can only imagine. And when housing, there's not enough affordable housing. Like you mentioned, your grandkids. I think of my kids, and you see the graph on the cost of housing, and not only in dollars, but even like comparatively to the cost of a Bitcoin. But I think about like my grandparents who headed west back around the Great Depression, whatever, got some land, built a house, and spent you call it $4,000, say, at the time. And then my parents, crazy to think of it, bought a house for, sounds crazy, but like more like $40,000 back in the 60s. And then for me, it's like, or for people my age, Gen Xers, it's like we're looking at, man, you need like $400,000. Yeah. So I'm just imagining, as the average price of a home in kind of my area is easily $500,000. It's like, are my kids, when they're of age to get housing, they need a few $1,000,000 now? Like, basically, you worry for the kids that are like, they won't have a house because it's the money. Like you said, it's the money. So
the money's broken. I feel horrible for them. It's so bad to look at it, just knowing that it's possible for them to get what it is that they want, but there's going to have to be some changes in order to make that happen, And so I'm really very, very excited. I'm proud of what I've built and what I'm building. I'm proud to be part of the Bitcoin community. I'm honored to be on your space today and have you host me. I hope it wasn't too boring for people.
No, it's a different area of industry. I could joke where, there may be a lot of Bitcoiners that don't have calluses on their hands or get their, shy away from getting their hands dirty, but everyone needs housing. You're in an industry that is not going away. If we're going to have a functional society and a functional economy, like we need this, we need to build, we need to grow. Yeah. People need places to do things. And so you're in a space that is just at the core of what people need. It's structure and shelter and energy. So, and then using the money that is the energy as well. So
Yep.
I really appreciate you coming on and spending so much time. You've been generous with your time, sharing so much with me.
You
And
bet.
so before we go, is there anything you'd like to share or say that I didn't get to?
Probably not. I just want to encourage the community to get out there and just try something new. Just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, just look at me. I failed so many times. I'm not super successful by any means yet. I just happen to be the brokest billionaire you've ever met.
7 times fall down, 8 times get up. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would say that if anyone is to your audience, if anyone's interested in being part of this train, DM me because we actually are. I'm actually looking for an equity partner. So yeah, DM me. It's this thing's gonna go crazy. I would really like it if Elon Musk would call me because I've been trying to get a hold of you, bud. I know it's your platform. I know you saved the world, but the world's calling again. If you want Starbase Texas built super fast, strong, and the right way, give me a call.
and you can be found on X at Alma Jessup. They can find you there. You're part of the Bitcoin Army group. You've
Yep.
got websites. You've got
Climate, you can go to climatebuilt.com or mirrorengineer.com. And I'm on X at Alma Jessup.
climatebuilt.com, mirrorengineer.com. You've got a lot of irons in the fire, and I'm really excited for you. So, again, thanks for joining, Alma. And it was fun. I learned a lot. So,
Thanks, Fitz. Appreciate it.
you're welcome. All right. See you, everybody.